I want you to just close your eyes for a second and imagine that classic, deeply nostalgic sound of international travel. You just stepped off a long flight, you walk up to the counter, and you hand over that little blue or red booklet to the border agent.
Oh, yeah, and they flip past the visas to find a blank page.
Exactly. They pick up that heavy metal stamp, press it into the ink pad, and then thud, that heavy, satisfying ink stamp hits the paper.
It really is like a little physical souvenir, a badge of honor you carry around for 10 years.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you can go ahead and open your eyes.
Yeah.
Because you need to say a final goodbye to that sound. That era is officially over.
It is. I mean, we are witnessing a really profound structural shift in international travel. That analog tradition is basically retired overnight.
We are jumping into some incredibly fascinating source material today for this deep dive, detailing the launch of the European Union Entry-Exit System. You might see it called the EES or the SES.
Right. And as of this Friday, it is fully operational.
Yeah, completely replacing those manual paper passport stamps with this massive automated biometric registration system across 29 different countries.
And, we should probably clarify early on that this isn't like a limited pilot program. It's a total structural overhaul of the entire European border from the ground up.
Our mission for you today is to explore exactly how this new digital border works, the staggering data behind its rollout, and why right now, in the middle of a crazy busy Easter holiday weekend, it's triggering warnings of massive hours-long queues.
Yeah, it's a textbook collision of high-tech security meeting the very messy reality of human travel.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we even look at why the borders are backing up, we need to explain what actually changed overnight for non-EU travelers arriving for short stays.
Right, so if you're entering the Schengen area, which is Europe's massive border-free travel zone, the process is fundamentally different now.
Because once you're inside that zone, you can theoretically drive from France all the way to Germany without a single passport check.
Exactly. That border-free internal movement is why the external border is so heavily focused on now. I mean, in the past, that manual stamp was basically an isolated piece of data.
Yeah, the border guard in Rome knew you entered Italy, but the data kind of just stayed there.
Right, unless police went actively looking for it. But the new system changes that paradigm entirely. It requires 3 specific things from you: your fingerprints, a biometric facial photograph, and your digitized passport details.
And you give all of this at automated kiosks or staff checkpoints the second you arrive. But I think the best way to visualize this data sharing for you is with an analogy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Think of the old paper passport stamp, like a physical guest book, sitting on a single front porch. You sign it, the homeowner knows you visited, but the house down the street has absolutely no idea.
That is a great way to put it. It relied totally on trust and physical inspection.
But the new biometric system, it's like a high-tech neighborhood watch group chat. 29 different houses instantly know who is at the door. Your data is stored for 3 years and shared in real time.
Wow. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you start to see the sheer scale of the operation. This didn't just flip on overnight. The phased implementation began back on October 12, 2025.
And the footprint is huge. We're talking 29 countries. That's 25 EU member states, excluding Ireland and Cyprus, plus Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland.
It is a staggering amount of territory sharing one digital perimeter, and the European Commission pushed for this because they wanted absolute visibility. Since the rollout began, the system recorded over 52 million border crossings.
52 million. That's insane.
Yeah, and in that process, it automatically issued over 27,000 entry refusals.
So 27,000 people were just turned away the digital door.
Exactly. Plus, it identified nearly 700 individuals flagged as active security threats, which goes back to Commissioner Magnus Brunner's point about finally taking control of who enters and leaves the EU, when and where.
Visibility and control, which, makes total sense for security. But this brings us to the immediate consequence of that control. When you demand complex biological data from millions of people, you get friction.
Oh, absolutely. And friction at an international airport always translates to time.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This launch coincided with the last weekend of the Easter holidays.
Which is just a massive peak travel time. It's a huge stress test.
Right, and processing times have already increased by up to 70% since biometric checks started last autumn.
Well, you have to think about the physical infrastructure. These arrival halls were designed decades ago for walking flow. You get a stamp, you walk away. Gathering fingerprints and facial geometry just takes longer.
70% longer. And ACI Europe data shows regular wait times are hitting 2 hours right now. At some airports like Geneva, they're seeing up to 4 hours.
4 hours in an arrival hall after a long flight is just catastrophic.
Exactly. Imagine landing in Geneva after a red-eye. You're exhausted, the kids are crying, the air conditioning is failing, and you wait 4 hours. It's brutal.
Which is why the aviation industry reacted so strongly. ACI Europe and other airline groups sent a joint warning letter to Commissioner Brunner about potential summer chaos.
Because if passengers are stuck, planes can't empty, departing flights are delayed, cruise time out, the whole ecosystem paralyzes. But the sources highlight this crazy detail. Member states can no longer fully suspend the system to manage peak demand.
Right. They had that tool during the transition, but it was revoked.
I have to push back on this design on behalf of the listener. It feels so rigid. In the past, if a line stretched for 4 hours and became a safety hazard, guards could just wave people through, right?
Yeah, they could temporarily suspend the deepest checks to clear the bottleneck.
But now they can't. They've fundamentally changed the priority from passenger flow to absolute security.
You're right to highlight that tension. It's the aviation industry's need for efficiency versus the EU's security mandate. But from the EU's perspective, that safety valve was actually a massive security vulnerability.
Really? How so?
Well, the logic is, if you can turn the system off when it's busy, a bad actor doesn't need a fake passport. They just wait for a busy holiday, join a huge queue, and wait for the guards to open the floodgates.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about it like that. So the rigidity is a feature, not a bug.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? How are they fixing this bottleneck?
The European Commission defends the system by claiming it only takes an average of 70 seconds to register a traveler.
Right, the 70-second average.
Yeah.
But in queuing theory, when you introduce a physical choke point into a high-volume system, averages become pretty meaningless.
Let's walk through that math, because 70 seconds sounds fast for one person.
It does, assuming flawless execution.
But you aren't arriving alone. You're on a wide-body jet with 300 people, and 3 other flights just landed. You're all funneling into a few kiosks. And queuing theory tells us that once a system hits about 85% capacity, wait times increase exponentially, not linearly.
Because what if a scanner can't read sweaty fingerprints? Or a family doesn't understand the kiosk instructions?
Exactly. A 3-minute delay cascades backward. If you 50th in line, your wait time multiplies.
It mathematically guarantees a massive delay, which is why they introduced the Travel to Europe mobile app, right?
Yeah. The idea is to offload that 70-second processing time. You pre-register your passport and submit a photo up to 72 hours before you arrive.
Sounds great on paper. You do it on your couch before the flight. But the sources say adoption is incredibly limited.
What's fascinating here is the behavioral psychology. Introducing new tech only works if human behavior adapts quickly. And humans are notoriously slow to change, especially with stressful travel.
I mean, you're already packing, checking airline apps, finding adapters. Adding a mandatory government app is a huge ask for a casual tourist.
It's a massive hurdle. Plus, there's a physical limitation. Even if you use the app flawlessly, you can't outsource the physical verification.
You still have to stand in front of the kiosk camera in Paris or Geneva so they know it's really you.
Right. The app reduces the 70 seconds, but it doesn't eliminate the physical choke point or the queue.
It's basically a Band-Aid.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
We have to view this current chaos as the messy growing pains of shifting to a fully digital future.
It gets even bigger, right? The sources say the digital border expands by the end of 2026 with ETS.
Yes, the European Travel Information and Authorization System.
That's the one requiring visa-exempt nationals to get online pre-travel authorization before they even board a plane.
Precisely. So SCS acts as the digital gatekeeper at the border, and ETS handles pre-clearance before you leave home. Together, they create a highly controlled, digitized perimeter.
Wow. It really is a staggering operational overhaul. So, let me briefly recap the core takeaways for you. The era of the passport stamp is over.
Totally gone.
It's replaced by this massive 29-country biometric web that shares your face and fingerprints in real time. It's definitely boosting security, but causing severe, hours-long growing pains at airports this weekend.
Because it's designed to prioritize watertight security over passenger flow.
Exactly. And human behavior just hasn't caught up yet.
As we sign off, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. The sources mention your biological data is stored for 3 years and shared across 29 separate nations.
Right. Instantly.
So as we move toward these stamp-free digital borders, are we unknowingly trading the simple romance of international travel for a reality where our biological identity is perpetually tracked by a vast multinational network?
That is definitely something to think about the next time you're stuck in a massive line waiting to look into a camera lens. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring and stay curious.